Fellow booktube, it's Nate Cooper here, and today I'm bringing you my Tome Topple round 4 TBR. So Tome Topple is a readathon that takes place kind of once a quarter, and it's hosted by Sam over at Thoughts on Tomes. I will leave a link to her announcement video and the Twitter group down below. This quarter, it is going on from August 4th to the 17th. It is 2 weeks long, and that is because it is not about reading a ton of different books. It's about reading a ton of pages, and specifically long books that are over 500 pages. So, like Sam mentions in her announcement video, the challenges this round are the same as they have been for, I think, every round, pretty much. And I'm going to be doing a couple of them, but I don't think I'm going to hit all of them. But I definitely have a couple of long books that I really wanted to get to, and now's my chance to do it. First up, and from last Tome Topple round TBR, is The Girl Who Played with Fire by Stieg Larsson. Are you sick of me putting this video on TBRs? Because I kind of am. I really want to read this. You know, it was on my TBR for July. Didn't get to it. I didn't get to like anything on my July TBR. This is my #1 Tome Topple TBR priority. I have to get this read. Like, not only do I really want to read it, but I have been saying I'm going to read it for 9 months, possibly longer. It has to get read. This takes care of the challenges to read a book in a series. Obviously, this is the sequel to The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and it's also an adult novel. The second thing I'm probably going to read is Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. So this is a book I bought at the end of last year, and I want to say I put it on my on like a list of books I really wanted to read in 2017. I love the movie that they made based on this. I know it kind of has mixed opinions, but I love it. I like the Wachowskis in general. I really like their movies, and I just love the film. I like the concept of David Mitchell's books, and I hope that I like this book as much as I like the movie. This is 529 pages, so just over the limit. And isn't it I'm like really psyched that I got this UK edition because I think it's really pretty. So if I read both of these novels, that will count towards read more than one tome. And this is also an adult novel. I will not be doing the graphic novel challenge. If I only get those 2 books read in the 2 weeks, I'll be totally satisfied because I've got a couple other, like, I'm probably going to read a short book in between reading them as a like palate cleanser, like a 1-day read. But I'm going to put a couple other like long books that I have just kind of sitting around in my like lying around here on my, maybe I'll pick these up too. The first one is The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. So this has been on my TBR since before it came out, because I remember when it came out and I really desperately wanted to read it because I'm a huge fan of Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's a book about a girl who somehow possibly descended from Dracula. And I think she's exploring her father's notes. They were both historians. Not really sure, but it's just been on my TBR forever. It's a huge book for me. I know there are other books that are bigger, but it's huge for me. 676 pages. I do really want to read it, but before I read it, I really want to reread Dracula by Bram Stoker, because I have not read this since I was in 6th or 7th grade, so like 12 or 13. It's been a really long time since I've read this, and I want to see if I like it as much as I remember liking it, because I loved it as a kid. And I want to do a refresher before I tackle this. Unfortunately, my copy of Dracula is exactly 400 pages. It's too short to read for Tome Topple, and I have to get it done before I read this, so I don't know if this is going to happen during Tome Topple, especially since Tome Topple starts on the 4th. For some reason, I was thinking it started on the 7th, and so I was like, oh, maybe I can get this read in the first week of the month, but it's the 4th, so I don't see that happening anymore, but who knows, maybe I'll feel like really inspired to read it. Another option is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This is a crazy popular book on BookTube. I'm like torn. I want to read it. It's just over 500 pages, like 515 pages. I don't know if I want to read it now or if I want to save it and read it in like October or November when it's wintry and cold. Maybe it's because the cover's black. It just feels like a cold read. But if it's more of like it takes place during the spring or summer, let me know and I'll read it during the summer. Yeah? Okay. And then another option is something I pulled out of storage recently. About 625 pages, and that is isn't it beautiful? It's Trade Wind by MMK. So I've got a couple of MMK books. I pulled all of them out of storage because I earlier this month I read an Amelia Peabody novel, and it kind of reminded me of MMK. So it's like I should reread some MMKs. This is obviously a super gross, manky old copy of this book, missing its dust jacket because I purchased it for like 50 cents from a Goodwill when I was freshman in high school, maybe. I want to say I was reading it my freshman year, more than 10 years ago. It is a historical fiction romancy novel. Like, there's definitely romance in it, but I feel like it's more historical fiction. I want to say it takes place during the Victorian era. I might be getting that time period wrong. Okay, here's the thing. I read probably about this much of it when I was a kid, possibly almost half of it, but then I stopped reading it because I had a really bad habit of doing that with long books. I still have a really bad habit of doing that with long books. Case in point, this book, which I read half of and then stopped reading. Long books and me just don't go together well. And I liked it, but parts of it were kind of dry for teenage me, and I think that was part of why I set it down. And I was also reading it like roughly the same time I was reading War and Peace, which again, I did the same thing. I had War and Peace, read like half of it, and then forgot I was reading it for months. So anyways, it's kind of a historical novel. It takes place, there's like a kind of a richer, unmarried woman. She is coming, I want to say it takes place on the Mediterranean, possibly Cyprus or North Africa, but I could be getting that slightly wrong. Or Madagascar? Is it in Madagascar? She's going somewhere in the either Mediterranean, Suez, or East African area. She travels there. There's all this stuff about like there's a pirate involved or like a privateer, and I want to say she gets kidnapped and she winds up on his ship and he's holding her ransom or something. Like, I think that's what's going on. And there's a ton of like 19th or 18th century European imperialist colonial politics going on, and I really remember liking the two protagonists, and I really wanted to see how they fell in love, but I just never got around to finishing it. So this is a possibility, and actually the more I'm talking about it, the more I kind of want to pick this up, because I just remember it being a lot of fun, and I could totally go for like a book about a privateer right now. So it's another option. And I think that's all I'm going to put on this. I do have one other really long historical fiction novel, but I just know myself, I'm not going to be able to read it in a 2-week time span because it's an Ian Pearce novel. And while I really like his books, they're very slow for me to read. I will definitely be reading these two, and I would really like to read something from this stack. Right now, I think I'm leaning towards Tradewind because I think it'd be the simplest thing to pick up and the thing I'm most interested in picking up. Let me know if you're going to be participating in Tome Topple Round 4, which you're really excited to be reading, or what tomes you're going to be tackling. The other thing is, there is a challenge to do a buddy read, which I have never done. Up until this point, I really haven't been communicating a whole lot with the same readers, so, you know, it just never really came up. If you're interested in doing a buddy read, I don't know, if anyone else is reading Cloud Atlas or something, or like if you were going to read The Night Circus, that could convince me to read it. If you want to do like a buddy read, leave me a comment down below. Or if you have another book in mind that you think I would really, really love and you want to do a buddy read or something, let me know. I'm pretty chill. The only book I'm absolutely dead set on reading is The Girl Who Played with Fire because it has to get read. So yeah, I'm really excited. This is one of my favorite readathons because it's really great because I'm one of those people who just lets big books stack up, and I always say I'm going to read them and then I just don't get to them. And so I love this readathon. I always have a pretty great time. I always make such good headway on the big books on my TBR. So I'm really excited for it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.